Live from Baumhauer's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa starting at 6 p.m. Central. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by Conecuh Sausage. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And there you go. We're back. We're live. We're off. We're running. It's another edition of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond on a Wednesday morning. Welcome into the show, 256-576-4977. That's how you can join us on a Wednesday. Normally, when it comes to a Wednesday morning, we have our seventh grader prognosticator, Grady the Greek, join us each and every Wednesday. But since Alabama is on a bye week, we don't have Grady the Greek on Wednesday today. We will have him back next week, and obviously with much anticipation on a Wednesday, he will be picking the Alabama-Georgia game, but we don't have him this week because Alabama is on a bye. So 256-576-4977. That's how you can join the program on a Wednesday morning. Oh, is he? I didn't know. Oh, there you go. We do. Okay. But anyway, so he's not picking the Alabama-Georgia game this week, but we can get his reactions because Grady the Greek, our seventh grader prognosticator, is actually with us this morning on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. It is the one, the only Grady the Greek. Good morning, buddy.
Morning.
How we doing today?
Good. How about y'all?
Hey, I am doing fantastic. The third and, well, I should say the fourth and final day here in Iowa. Drew is back there in studio, so we are doing fantastic.
Yeah, Grady, we are, and you're on fire. Once again, you did a good job picking the score, and then I know you didn't pick Alabama to cover, but you certainly picked Jalen Milroe to put on a show, and so good job once again. And how many picks have you got this week?
Just done do one game.
Which game are you going to do with Alabama on the bye?
Drum roll because Alabama's on the bye.
Here we go.
Well, I'm just going to do the Tennessee and Oklahoma game.
Oh,
the Vomits and the Sooners. The Vomits and the Sooners.
Josh Heupel making his return to Norman, Oklahoma. The offensive coordinator there under Bob Stoops at one time got fired, got let go. He was let go because the offense had become stagnant there in Norman. He makes his return back there to Norman, Oklahoma, and they still like him and they still love him there. But Grady, your thoughts?
Before I tell you that, I'm gonna say something about last week.
Right.
You know, I thought the defense was good. Offense played well with Proctor back. That really helped. But you know, I'm a little worried about the defense when it comes to when we play a good team that can run and throw the ball.
So you're still worried a little bit about the defensive side of the ball heading into the bye, Grady?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Interesting. Drew, do you feel the same way?
Well, I am a little concerned about the run defense. I mean, like I said on the show, I think the run fits at times weren't great, and then some of the open field tackling. But that's something fundamentally you can work on. I mean, for the most part, they were. It's something where you just got to be a little bit more assignment sound and pay attention to detail a little closer. And then they were in position, just make the tackle in many cases. So I think they were getting proper coaching. This wasn't wild turkey.
All right. All right, Grady. Lay it on us. Tennessee at Oklahoma. Your thoughts?
Tennessee 42 and Oklahoma 13.
Wow.
Ooh.
So Grady, I think Tennessee's what a 7.5 point favorite, 7.5 is what it's been most of the league. Oof. So Grady's thinking this is going to be a massacre in Norman.
Wow. All right, there you go. Now, I don't know if you're paying attention to this one as close. Do we do an MVP for this one, Grady?
I mean, what's impressed?
No. Okay.
what's impressed you about Tennessee, Grady? I mean, you don't have to do an MVP, but what makes you? What's the thought behind the pick of them routing the Sooners on the road?
Their defense.
So you're
Okay.
believing in the Tennessee defense and Coach Banks.
All right, bud. Well, let's do your shout outs like you do each and every week.
Shout out to Coco.
Nice.
Your sister.
And hey, how did you guys do this past week? I mean, how's football going?
We play tomorrow. We play at Coleman.
They got to play the Coleman.
Yeah.
Got to be ready, Grady. Got to be ready, man.
That's going to be a tough one.
It's going to be a
physical
tough
game.
You ain't getting any calls. You're just like if you're going to Knoxville and Mo, Larry, and Curly were there. You got to play through it, dude. Play as hard as you can, man.
Yep. Well, good luck with that, and good luck with your day at school today, Grady.
Thank you, Grady.
All right. See y'all.
42-13, Scott. That's a pretty.
Yep.
That's a bold statement. The Tennessee fans that are listening have got to be pleased. They hate me, but I could give a rat's rip.
That's the one, only our seventh grader prognosticator joining us like he does each and every Wednesday before he catches the school bus. And he has brought the hammer down and said Tennessee is going to shellac Oklahoma.
What he
Tennessee's
said.
Tennessee's a 7-point favorite.
Yeah.
He's in love with the defense.
Yeah, he's 7 to 7.5 is what it's been. Yep.
Look, I get it. They've played nobody. I mean, they've handled
because I just don't
business.
believe NC State. I just really don't think they're very good.
But at the same time, too, I guess you can look at it two ways. They haven't played anybody. They've executed at a high level, which they were supposed to do on offense. But sometimes defensively, you can give up some yards, you can give up some points, and they've not done that. They've handled their business very well at a high level. Now, you Tennessee fans believe they can go to Oklahoma, and I don't know if
they
it's
believe
that
they're
bad.
going 15, 16, 17-0. They're not going to lose a game. Nico's going to win 3 Heismans. He's the greatest player in school history. He's better than Peyton Manning, blah, blah, blah. That's exactly what they believe. And that Jimmy Haslam's going to buy them whoever they want, and they're going to buy players, even though he sure as hell can't help the Browns win.
Well, and Grady kind of helped us out here, and I did not realize he would call in on a bye week. I thought
I'm not surprised. He grinds during football season, man. When football season starts, we've talked to his father, Hunter Royer, who's a great friend of our show. This is something that he studies, man. He doesn't just call in and just pull a score out of what he's feeling in the morning. I mean, he studies it, looks at the trends, looks at offense, defense. He may not have picked an MVP at the same time, but he's obviously been watching Tennessee from afar, watching Oklahoma. Oklahoma's played a tougher schedule than Tennessee. They played Houston and Tulane, which is a lot better than the manure that Tennessee's played. Tennessee's played Chattanooga, NC State, and then Kent State. But at the same time, you made a point, Scott, that you can definitely make. They've been dropping 50 or more. I mean, last week they dropped 71 because they're classless jackasses who onside kick up 30 and then try to say it's part of the game plan. Well, part of my game plan will be to shove it up your ass at midfield after the game's over, but that's just me.
Well, here's the one thing, and I had this on the table to bring up, but yesterday Tennessee has made the announcement that starting in 2025, they are going to put a surcharge on all of their tickets that you buy to go to the game, and that extra surcharge will go to NIL.
Yeah, is it sponsored by Pilot Flying J?
I don't know, but you not you personally, but if you buy tickets to a Tennessee game, you will be contributing to the Tennessee NIL fund because you will be paying extra for that ticket.
Well, if I got tickets to a game in that dump hole, I'd be selling them. I'm not going over there.
It's a 10% surcharge to all season and single game ticket sales.
I got them. Hey, more power to you, man. You're trying to win, and again, some of that may be changed if they finally get together in January and work out this revenue sharing. But hey, trying to, Danny White, the athletic director we talked about yesterday, who came over from UCF, he hired Josh Heupel. Everything's going great right now. And so, hey, whatever you can do to try to win, because you sure is. It's been a long time. That's not 1988. You get about 10 more. You got 10 years on that, because it was 1998.
You're still in the DVD range.
Yeah, you are, but you haven't won an SEC championship since that same year. You've played in the championship game twice. You got the hell beat out of you twice by LSU, and you've never made the playoffs. So maybe you'll finally end that streak this year. Maybe. We'll see. Certainly looks like you got an above-average shot with all the money you spent from Pilot Flying J.
Well, this here, though, is this is a true test. I mean, if you're going to find out about your team, you're going to find out a lot about the road. And I mean, Tennessee, that NC State game was a neutral site game. And I would say that in most cases, playing it in NC State's backyard could be constituted as a road game, but they don't show up a lot to football games. So I think Tennessee fans had an extraordinary attendance level there in Charlotte for that neutral site game. So
they were
really
very impressive. I mean, no question about it. I give them. They've been very impressive so far. I don't think they've played a great football team, but they've also taken care of all three easily. So if they do what Grady is predicting, and Grady's been sharp as usual so far. If it's an impressive win like that, if you're talking about like 30 points, 20 over, which I believe you picked 29, but if you're picking a shellacking like that, there'll be some people picking them number one in the country if they go to OU and do that. We're going to talk to Brandon Drum later in this show about Oklahoma and what he's seen about them in the second hour, and we'll talk to Vince Ferrara tomorrow and get his thoughts on this matchup as Tennessee's traveling to Norman. But it is. I mean, I'm fascinated to see it, because, I mean, Nico Iamaleava, since he played against your Hawkeyes in the bowl game, has been really good. I want to see him play against a high-level opponent like in Oklahoma with a Brent Venables that's certainly, I'm sure, I know they had to beat a really, really solid Tulane team, but they've also been working on Tennessee for a while, as part of their preparation even for Tulane. So, because, they're the more talented team against the Green Wave. They certainly had to fight and battle and put John's team away, because John's an outstanding coach. But, I think they've known this challenge was coming up. And I believe, Scott, for both teams, it's the SEC opener.
It is.
I mean, that's huge.
Nico Iamaleava. Did I do that right?
Yeah, you sounded great. Nico Iamaleava.
Iamaleava. Well, that just rolled off the
money
tongue.
bag, yo.
698 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions for those in those 3
wins. 2 interceptions. Oh my! Really?
Yes, 2 INTs.
Wow, I didn't think God could throw an interception. Y'all gonna hate me, and I could give a rat's ass.
I'm not gonna hate you. I am
Tennessee
not gonna
fans
hate
are,
you.
and I
Tennessee fans might get a little
who
tired
cares?
of it.
Good, bring it on. Can't stand any of you.
They're gonna tell you that the last time Alabama came there, they whooped your ass.
No, are they gonna say that? Nerd, 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 nerd. I
know what that song is. Yes, Three Blind Mice. And speaking
of
the
Three Stooges.
And you know what? Josh Pate, and he's going to join us at 8 o'clock, the top of the second hour. There was a lot of problems with college football officiating over the weekend. Pat Narduzzi from Pitt, he was fined, even though Pitt got the win in the backyard brawl.
Yeah, against West Virginia.
He was fined because of his comments made about the college officiating.
I don't care. Good. People need to call them out anyway.
Kirby Smart kind of made some references about the college football officiating, the state that the college football officiating is in right now. Other coaches over the past 2 weeks have made a lot of comments about college officiating and where it is at as a whole right now. And Josh Pate, he went off on college football officiating, and he's going to join us at the top of the second hour.
Yep.
And I got to ask him about all of that, because it's in a poor state right now is college football officiating.
It is, but and in their defense, it's the only comment I'm going to make. They need to be full-time officials because of, look, man, look how much the players are making now. This is like,
we say that about the NFL too.
Yeah. And some of those guys, even in the NFL, aren't full-time, quote unquote. They have other real jobs. But look, for the most part during football season, it's all football. Okay. They've probably got an insurance sales business that somebody else is running, but they're preparing and studying football. And I guess it's the same way with these guys collegiately, but honestly, they need to be doing it full time. No question about that. And they need to get better. I know it's a hard job. Look, it's not easy, but I mean, it's just too inconsistent. And again, another thing that I have a big problem with, I know they get evaluated every game. Okay, that's not it. But I think after games, you should have to explain yourself because players and coaches have to. I mean, why did you call that BS penalty against Kool-Aid McKinstry and why did you throw the flag when he's inside the 30-yard line on the other end, and then miraculously, Curley decides to throw the flag late? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, it was total garbage. Hendon Hooker, all of them. You could see their body language. They thought the game was over. And then, miraculously, there's a flag thrown, 40 or 50 yards behind the play. It was total garbage, and that crew should have been suspended for that crap that they called officiating. And again, Bryce Young got targeted during the game. He came in injured anyway. And it was just, and again, I think if people listen to me, I don't talk about the officiating as far as costing Alabama games. I never said it did for the pick six. You know what I'm saying? Even though they are the kick six, pardon me, even though they called a what could have been called a dicey holding penalty when Alabama would have had, first and goal with TJ Yeldon. But, officiating didn't cost Alabama that game. And even you could say, well, there was a legal man downfield, but they weren't calling that a lot at that time. Alabama, what I've always said is that it's the one time I thought Nick Saban got out-coached. He just didn't let A.J. McCarron win the game. It wasn't officiating, but the one time that I really thought Alabama got robbed during his tenure was the game 2 years ago against Tennessee. I don't think it was officiating against Clemson in 2016. I think that was just a simple fact of Alabama got three big-time guys hurt: Eddie Jackson, SDH, Sean Dion Hamilton, and Bo Scarborough. And then, Deshaun Watson in college was a special player. And for a while in the NFL, before injuries in his personal life kind of derailed him, but they were just really good. And they beat Alabama in a classic game. The one game, like I said, during Nick Saban's tenure that I thought the officiating just, robbed Alabama was that Tennessee game. Other than that, you're going to lose some games, and Alabama lost games. Right. And I thought, in the 2010 Iron Bowl, a lot of crazy things happened, but Auburn came back and won. Credit them. And that was more injuries, more funny bounces of the football. Same way with the 2019 Iron Bowl. I don't make excuses for all that, but that game 2 years ago, that was just flat officiating incompetence. And then I think a lot of coaches are getting sick and tired of it, and they've got some things they need to work on.
All right, we got to get a break in. Our first one of the morning. When we come back, there's news about the Pac-12 or the Pac-6, soon to be the Pac-8, possibly. It does involve our good friend John Summerall. We got that. Deion Sanders sounds off about people talking about kids now in college football, coming after them.
Give me a break. These kids are making millions of dollars. I wish he'd shut up. He's an embarrassment.
We've got all kinds of stuff to get through. We've only just begun. It's Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
And I reckon the 2200 block of Meridian north of Oakwood still may be trying to clear that one. And we got some work scheduled today on Gord Drive in Decatur, south of Moulton. They'll have about a mile of Gord Drive closed throughout a good part of the day. Expert heart care backed by advanced technology. When you need cardiac care, you need the heart doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist on Bob Wallace Avenue. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at jetsuperstore.com.
You need a lawyer and pick up the phone. I'm attorney Gary Lackey. When you call for a lawyer, where does that phone ring? It might be in a call center somewhere, maybe 100 miles away, but my phone rings in my office.
The Lackey Law Firm.
I'm attorney Justin Lackey. My phone rings in my office too.
So does mine. I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. And when you've been hurt and need help, we're here. We're the ones who take your call.
And get what you deserve.
You want to talk to your lawyer. You don't want to reach a call center. With the Lackey Law Firm, that never happens.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And this is the most important part. We'll treat you like family because that's exactly what we are.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And I'll go you one better. If you can't come to us, we'll come to you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Catch the Tide every Saturday. Hi, this is Chris Stewart of the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Listen to Alabama football on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Roll Tide.
Hi, 7:21 on a Wednesday morning. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we will hand out our 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week. We will do that at the bottom of the hour. That'll be something that'll be fun for us. I mentioned the Deion Sanders thing. And Deion Sanders here, take a listen to what Deion had to say about the media, are jealous of college players making more with NIL money than what we make.
I say I genuinely love these kids. I genuinely really do. It's not about what they can do for me on the football field. It's about what I can help them with in life. Landscape has changed in football. Once upon a time, you guys never attacked college players. Now they're making more money than y'all. And some of y'all are envious and jealous about that. So you're on the attack. It was hands off a college player because he's an amateur. Remember that, guys? Now it's hands on. Go at them any kind of way you want. They're making more money than me, and I'm mad about it.
There you go.
No, it's not about being mad about it. It's being held accountable when you act like a jackass like his kids do half the time. That's what it's about. Shows them respect.
But are we taking more liberties, though, because of these kids making money?
Who cares? They're making money. You should be able to. If you don't do your job properly or you act like a jackass and you drive 150 miles per hour, it's like, Mullet Man said at Oklahoma State. You should be called out for it, and you should have to go in front of the media and answer the question.
Is that in reference to Georgia having another player drive excessively?
They've had about 30, man. Whatever.
They had one that did not play in the Kentucky game because he was picked up a few days before that for driving like 105 in a 65.
And ETN didn't play, against Clemson because of his situation with a DUI.
Right.
You mean there's got to be some kind of consequences for it, okay? And now I'm not calling a guy out if he's doing his job. I'm not calling a guy out if he does things the right way. But if you do things the wrong way, and see, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about just, I don't like this guy. I don't care if he threw for 300 yards. I'm going to give him a hard time. I'm not giving a guy a hard time if he's performing. Why would you do that?
No, we're not attacking the individual.
We're not attacking any individual. But if you go out there and you assault someone, or you freaking, you're driving 200 miles per hour. The Georgia situation, they even had a tragic one where someone lost their lives. Okay, I mean, that you should be called to the table for that and have to answer the question. And Mike Gundy, I'll give him credit for that. When he was talking about Ollie Gordon, his running back, yeah, I want him to sit in front of the media and have to answer the question. Why were you out, at 2 a.m. or whatever it is and driving 150 miles an hour? If you're a highly paid athlete, and they're not going to suspend him anymore in many cases. Georgia did, but you're going to get fined. You're going to, take a chunk of the NIL money. I mean, if you're going to make money now, see, Deion's acting like people getting hated on. They're not getting hated on. They bring it on themselves. I mean, at least I felt like it with the way some of those Colorado guys have acted. I mean, Come on, man. They make every little thing is disrespect. You know what I'm saying? When they are the ones that go out there running their mouths before games and everything and all this stuff and keeping receipts and all this stuff. Look, teams reflect their head coach. And who runs his mouth more than any head coach in football?
Deion Sanders.
Exactly. And the receipts they have, it must have been a bunch of returns or a bunch of defective crap, because I see a lot of L's. You know what I'm saying? Every decent team they play beats the hell out of them.
The other topic or the other conversation that is going on right now, and that is the fact that the Pac-12 does appear, or the Pac-6 does appear to be on the verge of becoming the Pac-8, and that is Memphis and Tulane are being targeted as the potential 7th and 8th members to join the Pac-12. Now, they say in that conversations could take place midweek this week to get this taken care of, and Tulane and Memphis could be added in there to give them those 8 important teams.
Man, all these conferences except for the SEC, coast to coast, man.
Isn't it strange?
Yeah, they're trying to find brands, and you would think that UNLV would be one of them.
I've heard that name as well. They could get to 12 and UNLV be a part of that.
Now the American, where Tulane is right now in Memphis, they're trying to hold on to those two. They're trying to hold on, but I don't think they'll hold on to them, to be frank with you. But then they're trying to hold on to Air Force, because they'd like to have Air Force, Army, and Navy, or attract Air Force, I should say.
Yeah, they want to attract Air Force to the
Mountain West Conference. But
yes,
if you're Air Force and you're thinking about your other sports and travel and everything like that, why wouldn't you go to the Pac-12? If I were them, I'd be thinking about heavily doing that. Now, Army and Navy, they're on the East Coast, really, but I don't know if the Pac-12 will be, interested in Army and Navy. I have not heard that speculation, but I'll be honest with you, they can still have the Commander-in-Chief's trophy. And look, I can never remember. I know Army and Navy have been in the same conference before, but certainly Air Force has never been. I mean, so I don't think that's a big deal. And if I'm Air Force and I got a chance to go to the new Pac-12 and, stay out on the West Coast because they're out there in Colorado, then that's what I'm going to do.
All right, I tell you what, let's get that break in, because when we come back, we do need to hand out our 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week. Their head coach will join us on the other side. It's Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly to partly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 80s. Slight increase in the amount of cloud cover across the Tennessee Valley. Maybe an isolated shower across far northeast Alabama, but the overall chance is incredibly small. Temperatures drop into the mid and upper 60s as we head into the overnight early Thursday morning. Much the same Thursday afternoon. A mostly to partly sunny sky. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 80s with a rogue shower certainly possible across northeast Alabama. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got a wreck at Oakwood and Grace. That one sounds like it's a no injury. Had a one in the 2200 block of Meridian north of Oakwood. They may still be trying to get it wrapped up as well. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. You can make it safer for them. Slow down or move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Already about to hit the halfway point. This is our high school streaming network. This week, week 4 features Buckhorn at Lee. Zone 2 features Madison Academy at Madison County. Zone 3 has the Randolph Raiders at Pope St. John Paul II. The Sparkman Senators will be on Zone 4, plus you can also hear it on Talk Radio 2 as well as on Talk Radio, with Huntsville taking on Sparkman. And Zone 5 features the Westminster Christian Academy Wildcats at DAR.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that his mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. And check us out at cpcfamily.org.
And now, a man who knows what you ate for breakfast.
Time now for the biggest thinker of them all.
He knows it all. He is Drew DeArmond. Listen to Drew and Scott Tyson weekday mornings. It's Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Each week, they lace it up. Each week, we'll present our Team of the Week.
Get it in here. I got one thing to say.
So it's time for the Bryant Bank Team of the Week presentation.
Indeed it is. It's time for another 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week. A huge thank you to our good friends over at Bryant Bank. We could not do this without them. Each week we present a school with a check for $500, and that check goes to that school, and they can use it however that they need to help out. And I am sure, after looking at the stats through 3 games, our Team of the Week school may need to give the scoreboard operator some more hot dogs and may need to do something because they're having to work a little extra when it comes to home games.
Well, they are. And, you know, I like to give shout outs. We talk about food on this show all the time. Of course, they're not open late, but certainly Dots could give them some hamburgers and hot dogs, if you know what I'm saying. Maybe some
we're going to have to visit. We're going to have to visit Dots. And if we say Dots, we're pretty much giving it away on where we are going.
You know the local landscape there.
If you know the local landscape, ladies and gentlemen, it is the New Hope Indians. They are this week's 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week.
And they're averaging a lot more than 50. They're averaging 63 points a game. And they're 2-1 and 2-0 in 4A Region 8.
Drew, that's a decrease from a week ago. They were averaging 70.
Hey.
A week ago. They're slowing down.
It's hard to average 70 every game, man. But if you're averaging 63 and 9 touchdowns a game and through 3 weeks, they've already had their bye. That's pretty good. And their first-year head football coach, Michael Harper, been a great friend to the show. He's been in our community for a long time. I mean, this is a guy that was head football coach at Whitesburg Christian Academy. He'll get that program rolling. Our good friend Jerry Adcock's over there now, and he was with Charlie Wilburn at Hazel Green the last couple of years before taking over at New Hope for our good friend and now colleague Tyler Johnson. And, you know, he's also been at Lynn as a head basketball coach. He's had many stops along the way, but he's certainly doing a great job at New Hope. And they are, as Scott Tyson just told you, our Bryant Bank Team of the Week. And Michael Harper's been kind enough to join us this morning to talk about his New Hope Indians and this hot start they've gotten off to in year 1. Coach, good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning, guys. How you doing?
We're doing well, man.
We're doing fantastic.
Not as good as your team, though. They're red hot.
Yeah, man, you're playing good.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, and talk about it. Talk about your team, Coach. I mean, we knew that Tyler Johnson had laid a pretty solid foundation. Scott and I have been over there. We've been around the people there, and you know, they've got a Division I offensive tackle right now at Arkansas State that's doing well. Played against Michigan, and certainly there were some good young players in his program. So certainly when you got there, the cupboard wasn't bare. But man, talking about, like Scott said, getting off to this kind of start. I mean, when I first score I really heard this season coming back from Huntsville High's opener at Hazel Green, besides the 27-0 Hazel Green, I about spit my Coke everywhere when I heard the Ohatchee New Hope score.
Regulation score, 77-71.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that was unfortunately, we didn't end up on the right end of that one, but that was the wildest game I've ever been a part of. And that's one of those games you'll never forget. But what you said is exactly right. Coach Johnson did a great job, laying a foundation. He built up the numbers. We've got 56 varsity players, and for ninth through 12th. And for a 4A program, I feel like that's pretty good. So we've got a good foundation there. And we have some good players. And you guys have been around the game long enough to know that having players is what it's all about. And now, you've got to direct the players in the right way. But we've got a good group of players that have really bought into what we are trying to do. And they seem to like what we're doing. And when you get player buy-in, that's when things can really start to move forward.
Yeah, Coach Michael Harper joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, head coach of the New Hope Indians. And Coach, the offensive firepower. You go into fall camp, you get everything ready, you get the offensive game plan, you envision how it can go. Obviously, it has to have gone exactly how you thought it would go to average over 60 points a contest.
I'd be lying if I said it hasn't gone well. It's gone great so far. Now it's about to get a lot tougher on us. The schedule's about to get really tough. We've got a tough one this week. We play a really good defensive football team this week in North Jackson.
Yep.
I feel like we played a good defensive team last week though, in Madison County. Coach Hancock does a great job. I've coached against him the last 2 years when he was at Huntsville High. He's a very good defensive mind. So I felt like we played a pretty good defense last week. But the more and more film teams get, the more things we're going to have to do to try to disguise some things. The more tendencies you get on you, the more difficult it becomes. And then our schedule is just going to keep getting tougher and tougher. This region is tough. There's a lot of good teams in this region, and there's a lot of very good coaches in this region.
They really are, and it's been a very interesting start to region play. Coach, I know you got a 48-24 win over in Madison County. That's another big rival as far as historically for New Hope. And I know Leighton Pohl, he had an unbelievable game. He's up for AL.com Player of the Week. Anytime you score 6 touchdowns, that's unreal. But I've watched him play. I had the honor of doing Randolph football the last 2 years before. Of course, this year we're doing Huntsville High. But Randolph's got a great program, and you could see the young talent in this New Hope program. But what's been the key for him being such a good fit for what you're doing offensively?
So one thing is he's a natural athlete.
Right.
He's he throws 93 on the mound. And I think he set the record this summer with VBA, the travel club, for exit velocity on a home run or on a hit. So, he's just a natural athlete. He, and he's got some things you can't coach. One of our touchdowns, he scored. He stuck his foot in the ground and got north and then made a cut back and just left everybody. So, some of those things, speed and vision, are just things that you can't coach. And it's just the natural ability he has. And then I think the thing that makes Layton special, and really it's not just Layton, it's a lot of our kids, is they just have fun playing. You know, we don't talk about that enough. We always talk about, you know, the grind that the game is, which it is. But, you know, kids play football because they love football and they enjoy playing. And that's the way Layton plays. Layton plays like he's out there to have fun.
And
it
Coach,
is fun scoring 6 touchdowns. So.
How much is it then that you try not to overuse them?
Well, so one of my big philosophies, and it's not just my philosophy, plenty of other coaches use this, but we want to get our best players the ball and try to get it to them in space. So, you know, we're going to work and we're going to find ways to get our guys the ball. But then there is that balance to try not to overuse him. You know, last year he played a lot on defense. So we're trying to limit his, like he hasn't played defense at all the last couple games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have a package with him in there. We want to keep him fresh. And then we also know, you know, what kind of future he has in baseball. And so we're trying to, you know, keep him fresh, keep him healthy, you know, just because we feel like that's what's best for him.
And I don't blame
and a lot of our other players too.
Yeah, no question. No, yeah. And this is not just a one-man team, Coach. You have an outstanding quarterback. You have great skill people. You have to average 63 points a game.
Well, so Dawson Cameron is our leading receiver, and he actually he leads the state in receiving yards right now. So he's another one that works hard, works on making his routes crisp in practice, and he's one that's pretty dynamic with the ball in his hands as well. And you know, he's one that we talk to every day, work with on just little things, as far as even getting in and out of his break, stemming the receiver the right way, false stems, you know, different things where he can make his game even better. And then, you know, our quarterback, Lucas Terry, who's just a sophomore, has done a really good job. It helps that he played as a freshman last year.
No doubt.
But, you know, we put a lot on him as far as, you know, not just, you know, it's a lot more than just gripping it and ripping it. You know, he's got to call the protection at the line. He's got to, you know, get everybody lined up. You know, we give him freedom to make certain reads. So it's a lot, you know, to do as a sophomore, and he does a really good job. It's just continuing to get better and better as the year goes. And you know, those are the three guys right now that are kind of getting the attention and lead us. But you know, we've also got a really good offensive line, and
yep.
They do a really good job in pass protection, and then do a really good job in what we are trying to do in the run game. And then I have to mention our other receiving core too, because they don't get the attention that some of the other ones are. But Van Mefford and Gavin Runlet are two guys that we also move around a lot, and they're unselfish. They don't get the ball as much as some of the other guys do, and don't get the attention as much as they do. But they keep great attitudes when the ball's coming their way, or if we're running a screen, they're blocking and they're running their routes hard. And then Dom Scott, who's our other running back, and he's a fullback type, H-back type, that blocks his tail off and then plays his tail off on defense. So, there's just, some unselfish guys on our offense.
Well, Coach Michael Harper, again, joining us, New Hope head football coach, our 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week. Coach, thanks to a 9-team region, you didn't get much time to get used to everybody with a couple non-region games. You open up with Ohatchee. You have that, as we mentioned, 76-71 back and forth game. And then you come out with DAR, a bye week. You have Madison County last week in a region game. That just leaves you, 6 of your next 7 games are region games. That's a tough, long season.
Yeah, it's a grind. It really is. And it's not just 6 or 7. It's not just 6 or 7 region games. It is it's every team we play could be left on the schedule could be a playoff team.
Wow.
You're getting into the playoff picture now, and with even with the non-region game with tiebreakers, we're going to have to treat this non-region game because you only get 2 of them. You're going to have to really treat the non-region game like it's a region game because you don't know what kind of tiebreaker scenario you're going to get into. We've got I think what we've got left on the schedule. They were almost every team was in the playoffs last year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a grind. There again, it's schools with great athletes and great head coaches and coaches that have been at their school for a long time and have been able to build their program. So it's going to be a challenge for us to keep up with what we're doing, but we enjoy that challenge to try to continue to not just score points, but to win games. Our defensive staff works just as hard as us. Probably works harder. They're working hard. So I've got to give them a shout out. And I know you never want to give up as many points as what we gave up. But especially ever since that game, they've worked tireless hours to try to get us improved. And I feel like we are improving on that side of the ball.
Well, talk about, Coach. It's a huge 4A Region 8, road contest coming up this week on Friday. It's a tough place to play. I've been over there. There's a lot of tradition. Joe Hollis has built a program there. Their only loss, it was a backyard rock fight, 14-6 to an unbeaten Scottsboro team coached by former Sylvania head football coach Tyler Van. North Jackson, that game kind of reverberates still in North Alabama. They like to run the football. They're a very physical team. Kind of talk about that challenge coming up this week.
Yeah, they do exactly what you said. They like to run the football, and they like to run it right at you. They like to be physical up front. They're a gap scheme team, so they really like to run power, counter. They've got some athletes. They like to get some of their athletes the ball in space too. And then they're a very good defensive team. It's going to be our biggest challenge by far on offense, and we're going to see some different coverages than what we've seen so far. We're going to see a little more. We're going to see a little more man coverage from what we've seen. So we're going to get to see some one-on-one football, and they're very not just good athletes on defense, but they're very solid schematically. They're usually in the right place at the right time. So it's going to be a challenge for us. But again, it's a challenge that we're looking forward to.
Well, Coach, what does it mean for you guys in your first season there after 3 games, be crowned our 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week?
It's great for our kids. We're happy to talk about our program anytime because of the kids that we have, and it's all credit to them because of what they've done all summer. It's a tough spot, anytime you lose your coach, as late in the year as what they did, it would have been easy for a lot of them to just say, I'm just not going to play this year. But we really didn't lose. We only lost a couple of players from last year. Everyone stuck to it and has really worked their tail off to try to have a good season. And so anytime that the players get awarded something, I love it. And I can talk about our players all day. And so it's just really exciting. And, we're honored to receive that award, and we really appreciate Bryant Bank for that, and for you guys, for 97.7, for what you do for high school athletics and for the recognition that you give, every school, all schools.
Well, we certainly appreciate you and the job you and your coaching staff and your kids have done. We look forward to being out there at New Hope and awarding with our friends at Bryant Bank the $500 to your football program. Good luck against North Jackson, Coach, and we appreciate you taking some time to join us before a busy day of school today. But, again, continued success and congratulations.
Thank you again for having me, guys. Roll Tribe.
Thanks. There you go. Michael Harper, kind enough to join us. And we will partake in that tomorrow. We'll get that set up. So I would be free for lunch tomorrow. If I'm telling you, I'd be free for lunch.
Oh, I'm going to be free.
Because Dots will have to be in order.
Yep.
Dots Dairy Den in New Hope will have to be in order. So
cheeseburger, chili dog.
Well, I ain't going all that. I will go the
I
cheeseburger
got to get a
route.
chili dog again, man. I had one late. I had one after the cheeseburger, and it was really good.
I will have to go the cheeseburger route, the fry route, and the chocolate shake route.
There you go.
That is what I will go with,
yeah.
And it'll be fantastic. Again, thank you to Bryant Bank. Thank you to New Hope, and congratulations to the Indians. Let's get a break in. Charles Huff, this will be a good way to end
I saw this. This was great.
We will end.
I wonder how many Scott could eat.
We'll end hour one. Coming up next with Coach Huff.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a wreck on Oakwood at Grace, and got one in the 2200 block of Meridian that's north of Oakwood. Both of those should be about ready to clear. I think they both ended up being no injury. Everything else seems to be in pretty good shape. You be careful on your trip in. Do you need help covering a leave of absence or maybe completing a special project? Snelling can help. They've been partnering with the best companies for over 65 years. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888 Sparky.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
Tired of the same old menu options everywhere you go? Then you need to try Metro Diner in Huntsville and Madison. The award-winning Metro Diner serves up signature dishes like their Charleston shrimp and grits, famous fried chicken and waffles with strawberry butter, and lots more. Their entire menu is available anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And stop by for brunch on Saturday or Sunday and enjoy the lowest price mimosas in town. Airport Road, Huntsville, and Highway 72 in Madison. In diner or at home, make it Metro Diner.
You don't have to go somewhere else just so you can go somewhere new. Plan your next vacation with Huntsville International Airport and Breeze Airways. Enjoy friendly, convenient, nonstop travel to some of the most exciting destinations in the U.S., including the home of 12 world-famous theme parks, Orlando, Florida. With flights starting as low as just $49, Breeze has got you covered with easy, breezy, nonstop flights to Orlando. Make all their dreams come true. Book nonstop to Orlando now at flybreeze.com.
There you go, 7:54 on a Wednesday morning. Let's get out to the phone lines real fast. Jeremy is with us. Good morning, Jeremy.
I mean, perfect timing today. Y'all giving the award to New Hope as I was driving through New Hope, and then going to be coming back through around lunch. So now I've got plans for lunch.
There you go.
Yeah,
Dots Dairy.
That's my favorite thing. Y'all always know how to get me with the food every time.
Dots Dairy Dan it's just a little hole in the wall, but man, if you want a good greasy bull, it's good.
Yep.
And we talk about food enough that in your heads, when you talk to me on the phone, you're probably thinking, Jeremy probably weighs about 450, 400. No, I'm about 200. Look, I got a question for y'all. High school football and college can be thrown into this if it is. So when I was in school, we had a play, and it wasn't really a play as a add-on to a play that was being called. Like if we had if when the quarterback called something, he'd look to the sideline, and the coach would give him a signal. We had two plays. One was called the B, and it would and then backyard. So if he called out a play and said backyard or B, we had one player, and there was only one player that was allowed to do this. And that player would run whatever they wanted to run. Like they didn't have a specific route that they ran. Everybody else did, but that one player would just go wherever. And if that player was open, they'd hit him. And it was usually the best receiver we had that they would throw that option on. They quit running it because we kind of ran out of receivers after that couldn't do what, they really wasn't in sync with the quarterback. But are there teams that still do that? I mean, do they still run that some?
I mean,
or y'all ever heard of?
I mean, I would imagine so, because again, football is a game of imitation, and things always come back into play. I mean, there's still teams that run wishbone stuff at times, but again, that's why high school football is great, recalling things of that nature that work. But I'll say this: you won't find a more wide open offensive team than New Hope, in the way they throw the ball around, the way they run the football. They're balanced and they're fun to watch. I mean, anytime you average 63 points a game, and I know it was heartbreaking for them to lose to Ohatchee, but in many cases, I think they gained a lot of confidence from that game, and it's carried over to this point in the season.
It kind of set a tone for what they want to do, though. I mean, you looked at that game and you were thinking, wow, neither team, couldn't stop anyone, but that's how New Hope wants to play. I mean, you looked at that 71 points. That's what they want to do. That's what they want to accomplish. And so far, I mean, it's they're running.
Hey, and those of us that are high school football aficionados, if you remember the movie Varsity Blues, when they called the oop-de-oop, that was basically the run and shoot before anybody knew what the hell the run and shoot was.
All right, Jeremy, thanks for the phone call, bud. We are up against that hour break. Good interview coming up next. Our good buddy Josh Pate will join us. We'll get to Charles Huff. I promise. We're going to get to that in the 8 o'clock hour because it's just too good to pass up. We'll get to that and more. But Josh Pate will join us. He's had some interesting comments about college football. And where is he going this week?
You can imagine he's going where Grady the Greek picked.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. We'll share Grady's prognostication with Josh and see what he thinks. Josh Pate's going to join us next.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Check out VSiN's catalog of original podcasts, daily and weekly programming to keep you in the know when you're on the go. only at VSIN.com. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
NFL Week 3 kicks off Thursday night with the Jets hosting the Patriots at MetLife Stadium. Both teams are 1-1. The Jets coming off Sunday's 24-17 win at Tennessee, while the Patriots came up short at home in overtime, losing 23-20 against the Seattle Seahawks. Jets coach Robert Saleh loves the spotlight of Thursdays.
As a coach, you want all 1 o'clock games because of the consistency of the week, but at the same time, you want to be a part of it because it means you're doing something good. So it's being under the lights and being the only show on TV is a fun thing.
The Jets by 6.5, New England plus 225, over-unders 38.5. That's the VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. I'm Chuck Sanders.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
It is hour 2 of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, welcome back into the show. Big thanks to SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, dedicated to providing care that improves lives, helping us kick off hour number 2 of our Wednesday show. 256-881-5151. You can call them, experience the SportsMed difference. They are dedicated to providing care that improves lives. College football, Grady the Greek, top of the hour, top of the show, like he does each and every week. Our 7th grader prognosticator joined the show to give us his thoughts on college football. And he says Tennessee is going to go into Norman, Oklahoma and torch Norman, basically. He has Tennessee leveling the Sooners.
42-13. And our next guest is headed to Norman for his new college football tour because it's now the Josh Pate College Football Show presented by CBS Sports. He's coming off his first trip to South Carolina, and he wanted to see a good game, and he certainly did, as the Gamecocks led throughout until a rally by LSU wins the football game 36-33. He also told us he didn't go to Wisconsin because that was going to be a dismantling, and he hit that one on the head as Alabama shellacked the Badgers. And now we're going to get his thoughts on this past weekend of college football and, of course, what he's looking forward to on his road trip to Norman, and that is Josh Pate. Josh, good morning.
Good morning, sir. What I'm looking forward to is I've never been to a game in Norman. Let me rephrase. I've been storm chasing out there many times, but I've never been out there for a football game. So first times all across the board recently.
Yeah, no doubt. And just looking at your X account and your social media, it looked like you had a great time in Columbia. The fans sure loved you.
Oh, I love it over there. I haven't been to a game there since I've worked at CBS, and I've always you have some of them circled because when you've been there, you've had a good time, and that's always been the place, one of the places at least. But if I'm calling myself going to the biggest game in the country every week, South Carolina, just being brutally honest, has not been in that position. So that we're finally in that position, and we got over there. Did you see the mayor asked me to come by his office? What a Well,
you're the mayor of college football. I don't know. Well, there was even a sign there. You're already your commissioner of college football campaign. It's off to a good start.
Yeah, I mean, I told the staff, the mayor asked me to come by, and they said, of South Carolina? And I said, guys, please act like you get out of the office every now and then. Please understand how government works.
So, the mayor of Columbia, everybody.
Yeah, Josh, one of the things that came up with that game, and I know you addressed it earlier this week, but there was a talk about the college officiating coming out of that LSU South Carolina game.
Yeah, it wasn't just that game. I think it was as bad across the board as I remember seeing officiating in college football for a long time. So I don't know that I've ever done a segment about it on the show, but I did it Sunday night and just ran a montage of clips of egregious calls. My theory, which I had confirmed to me by officials after the show, is when Tua got hurt the way he did last Thursday night, it freaked everyone out. And there was panic and there was scrambling behind the scenes in the NFL, but also in college. They understand you cannot have that kind of spectacle on TV all day Friday, and you can't have suburban moms seeing that all day Friday. And so they had league office calls. They had calls with their officiating crews, and they said, guys, we got to really, really make it a point to emphasize quarterback safety and player safety. Well, the problem was they went above and beyond in doing that Saturday and made a bunch of horrific calls that changed the outcomes of games in the process. So I talked about it. And I talked about it on Sunday, how there's no accountability. It's $1 billion sport with a nickel and dime officiating arm. You never get answers. People who call it out get fined. And there's such a cloak of secrecy around one of the most important aspects of this sport, and it's not acceptable. And I kid you guys not, over a dozen current college football officials, every conference, hit me up behind the scenes and explain how that world works. And it's fascinating. It's every bit as convoluted and as messy as you would think it is. Politics play as big a role in it as you'd think. There is no consistency. There is no central governing body to the. What I mean by that is there is no centralized standard that is applied. The Big 12 does it one way. The SEC wants different stuff emphasized. And jeez. I think also, if you go back a couple of weeks, when Oklahoma State played Arkansas and Oklahoma State comes back to win, Mike Gundy in his postgame press conference talked about this, and it raised my antenna at the time, but now it really does. He called out the officiating crew that day for throwing flags on them, and he said, they're throwing flags on us, but we weren't making mistakes. Our kids were doing something they're coached to do. I think it was like a pre-snap shift or something like that. And he said, the reason we feel comfortable doing that is because we do it every day in practice, and the officiating crew we have in practice never calls the flag on it. And the way I got it explained to me is, well, we call that, as if to say, we've decided to call that. Maybe another crew wouldn't. Well, it's like Angel Hernandez being an umpire in baseball. It's not supposed to be the way it is. You don't have your own style. The rule is the rule. So it's been an interesting few days because I have never gotten that much universal feedback on something as I did that segment.
Wow. That's just eye-opening.
Yeah, it really is. And Scott and I have talked about it. And one of those game-changing calls was the call on the quarterback, which I guess you could call it to the letter of the law, but I thought it was a little excessive during that pick six that would have, I think, iced the game for South Carolina against LSU, Josh.
Yeah, it happened right in front of me. And I didn't, I'm watching the guy return. I'm not watching the quarterback. But this has enraged me for a little while. You guys will remember pretty vividly the 2012 SEC championship game when Aaron Murray throws a pick and Quentin Dial just seeks him out and obliterates him. And there's no flag thrown on the play, and everyone's complaining, how could you let a quarterback get depleted like that? Well, the answer is he's not a quarterback. Once the ball starts to get returned, he's not a quarterback. I remember watching Peyton Manning. I can't remember when it was, but it would have been when he was playing in the NFL. He threw a pick one time, took a knee. And I didn't get why he was doing that. I thought he wasn't competitive. I thought it showed softness. No, what he was doing was he was removing himself from the equation, because that's the only time on a football field he becomes not a quarterback. It's when he's thrown a pick, because that's when every defender is taught, go hunt the quarterback out and knock him out, because there are different rules once you pick the ball off for those next few seconds than there are any other time in the game. Well, in the LSU game, the guy goes and finds Nussmeier, doesn't even put a vicious hit on him. He takes both of his hands, hits him on the shoulder, knocks him down, and it happened in front of the official, and Nussmeier did a good sell job, and the official just thinks, well, I guess I need to throw a flag. That's all there was to it. It was pathetic, and took away a pick six in a game that ended up being a field goal game late. And I can never definitively say this, obviously, because you never know how things would have turned out. I absolutely believe that cost South Carolina winning that football game.
Wow. And then you had a close one in Lexington, Kentucky, and Georgia, a whole lot closer than what we thought. You may have thought I'm different, but I mean, you had a game that was a whole lot closer. And again, you want to talk about officials, we could pick apart it all day long in that one as well. But Georgia goes on the road and gets a test from Kentucky.
Yeah, they did. There are two ways to look at that, because the first way to look at it is we've seen Georgia do that stuff before. We've seen Kentucky do it to them before. We've seen Georgia look that way in a year they went on to win the national title. So it's not a cause to absolutely sound the alarm. But I went back and watched the all 22 of that last night, because I didn't get to watch the full game live, and I'm still circling back around on previous week. I don't think that's an elite team right now. I don't think Georgia's an elite team right now. I think they have the pieces and capability of being that. Here's the problem. In that game, they were very, very thin on the defensive front. Now, they will get guys back, but they had 3 defensive linemen play 50-plus snaps in that game. The next closest played 17. So if Kentucky were able to sustain any kind of drives against them, they would have been gassed in the fourth quarter. Credit to them for getting off the field. But their offensive line has they've underwhelmed to a big degree to me so far this year. I don't think there is a single overly special part of their offense right now. I don't think the pass catchers are overly special. I don't think Carson Beck has been overly special. Their tailbacks haven't. Their offensive line hasn't. And so that's the bad news. The good news for Georgia is that's happened before. This is not the first time you will have said this. We've said it about Alabama on this show early in the season before, and they figured it out. I mean, how horrific did they look against the USF last year? And they ended up in overtime away from going to the national title. So these teams that look bad early in the season that have high-end potential, they can get it fixed. They just have to, take this bye week, for example, get healthy and figure something out. Because Alabama still matches up very well with Georgia, just like they did in the SEC title game last year. They are each other's next game. Going to be an insane environment next Saturday night. So if Lexington was unkind to you, Tuscaloosa won't be any kinder. And I am really interested to see what different they do. Do they identify things they did in last year's SEC title game that they want to do differently? Do they handle Jalen Milroe differently? And then also just from a this season standpoint, how different can they look than they looked against Kentucky?
And Josh, I've got to ask you too. We just talked about our guy Grady the Greek. I was a little stunned. He's usually very sharp though. He picked Oklahoma to get just manhandled by Tennessee. I know you're headed up there for the first time to Norman. Your thoughts on this game? I just saw on your X account the storm chasing. Is there a storm coming to Norman? I mean, what do we think? Because Oklahoma has played a couple of pretty good opponents in Willie Fritz and Houston who are rebuilding. And then I love John Summerall and Tulane. I think they're a really good football team in their league in the American. But what about this matchup intrigues you?
By the way, we use a 7th grader for our prognostication.
Yeah.
So he's in 7th grade doing this.
And I let my sister fill out my March Madness bracket. So I understand totally. I understand completely. Here's a great question. Why in the world, going into week 4, is Jackson Arnold still Oklahoma's leading rusher? And they're not designed quarterback runs, by the way. The answer is their offensive line's been beat to death. Their pass catchers have as well. So you've had just a perfect, terrible storm come together for them in that there's no downfield threat. Defenses don't have to honor it. They've stacked boxes. And most of Jackson Arnold's rush yardage hasn't even come designed. It's come on scramble. Tennessee, here's the thing about this game. They have hoped at Oklahoma that they can get a lot of guys back for this game. Nick Anderson, for example, big downfield threat for them.
Mm-hmm.
They think they may get him back. Deion Burks, the transfer, has been pretty good, but can't do it all by himself. So here's the path for Oklahoma, because I actually think it's going to be a dogfight, and I think they're going to surprise people and be in it in the fourth quarter. The way that's got to happen is you have got to make Tennessee games different than what you've seen so far. You've got to make the first half different. You've got to have yourself approaching halftime the same way NC State did. You may think to yourself, well, that's dumb. Tennessee blew NC State out. Well, Tennessee led NC State 10-3 late in the second quarter, and then a pick six tilted the game. But early on, Tennessee's offense did not look good. Nico made some ill-advised throws, made a couple of throws that should have been picked off that weren't. And any of those things happening in this game, if they're taken advantage of, change the game. You've got to have them feeling the same way Boston College got FSU feeling. And that is, it's almost halftime. Why haven't we had the ball? It's almost halftime, and the time of possession and the total plays run is tilted so heavily in their favor. How is that? Well, the way it is you still have a first-year starter at quarterback. He's very talented, but someone's going to throw a crowbar in the bicycle spokes on him eventually, and someone's going to make him uncomfortable, and someone's going to get you in a situation where things are bogged down. That just happens. Does it happen here? And then if you are able to get that to happen here, are you able to be balanced enough offensively to where you can take advantage of the part of Tennessee that is able to be taken advantage of, but no one knows it, and that's the secondary. It's still vulnerable back there. It's just that no quarterback they face is capable of taking advantage of it. They have not harassed quarterbacks so far this year, guys. They've been very average in getting to the quarterback. I think they're average on the back end, but no one's taken advantage of it. That doesn't mean the flaw's not there. It just means you haven't seen it exposed on your TV on a Saturday yet. So if Oklahoma can do those things, then it'll be a close game. I think somehow they're going to find a way to do those things. I still think Tennessee will win the game, though. But I think it's very competitive in the fourth quarter.
Wow. That's interesting because a lot of people talk about how good Tennessee's defense has been. And that's the one thing that they look at the numbers and say this Tennessee defense is playing national championship caliber defense.
I think that, look, do not get me wrong. I think they played very good defense. I actually think they still have a level up that they can go defensively. But when people are saying that, I'm trying to remind people and myself, if you're in week 2 or 3, or even going into week 4 in a college football season, if your schedule is not front loaded, there are going to be cracks in your dam that have not had the proper water pressure applied to them yet. Every team's like that. Georgia's like, Ohio State's like that right now. They haven't played anyone. So that doesn't mean it's a knock on them. It means you got to be careful just heaping on the praise until you've seen a team get battle tested. And we're going to see Tennessee get a little more battle tested this weekend. And certainly they play a conference schedule that'll take care of itself. I just try to be really careful tripping over myself to buy into teams this early in the season only to be made a fool of. And then afterward, you're driving home from the game saying, I can't believe I just blatantly ignored that they hadn't played anyone yet.
Well, we're talking to Josh Pate College Football Show. And my final question, speaking of taking water on with a dam, what about Florida State and Florida? Uh-oh.
The dam broke, Drew. The dam
broke.
Yeah, the dam is breached. The town is gone. I think at Florida, this is a two-parter. The first is, will Napier be fired? Yeah, he'll be fired. When he'll be fired, I'm not sure. I hate it because I love Billy, but I think the end is pretty inevitable there. But I was having a conversation with a GM at a major program yesterday who's not at all involved in it, and his head coach won't be involved in this in any way, but he was just kind of openly saying, this is not as easy as it looks, even if you fire him, even if you go after a Lane Kiffin, like even if you've got your guy identified, think about the fact that whichever coach you hire is probably a playoff caliber coach. And let's just say it's Kiffin.
Yeah.
Well, your early signing day this year is December 4th. Oof. Kiffin's not going to be available by then. Your portal window is December 9th through January 7th or something like that. He's probably in the playoffs at that point. And so are you going to wait on a guy and potentially sacrifice your roster and your signing class and your potential early portal window? Is it worth it? And if your answer is yes, what do you do in the interim? You can't go the normal interim route. You've got to do something radical. My proposal was you ought to go do something like hire Urban Meyer for a month as an ambassador and pay him $1 million and have him sell Florida and have him hold your roster together and have him be active in recruiting, all the while promising, hey, I'm here right now, but a premier candidate is coming. Just wait and see. They've got to do something like that, because right now the college football schedule and calendar is so out of whack that the timeline doesn't match up.
Wow, that's great stuff from Josh Pate, the Josh Pate College Football Show. As we know, it's Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and it's powered by CBS Sports, and he will be headed to Norman, Oklahoma. Man, it's always great stuff, man. Thank you for the intel and the conversation. We always appreciate your time, sir.
Appreciate it, guys.
Nice, Josh.
Really
Josh Pate with us,
there,
man.
Scott.
Drew, from his take on officiating to Urban Meyer. I mean, it's an Urban Meyer-esque type of guy coming in there and being a table holder, basically, to bridge the gap between Billy Napier's exit and who comes in.
Oh, you could do Coach Spurrier. I think he'd do a hell of a job.
I thought about that too. I mean, a Spurrier or Urban Meyer coming in there and saying, hey, I'll go get these guys out of the portal. We'll still pay them. We'll build this roster together. We'll keep it intact.
There's nobody that's more a Gator than Spurrier, okay?
Oh, I know.
Urban is detested by half the Gator Nation. Spurrier is
But
not.
let me ask you this, though. If Urban Meyer came in and did that, let's say Josh Pate's theory holds true. Urban Meyer comes in, becomes a table setter, keeps that Florida roster together, brings in a few guys that have talent. They hand it over to a higher upper echelon coach with playoff experience. Does Urban Meyer's reputation get repaired in Gainesville?
Not really. There's still Aaron Hernandez on Hulu. So,
that's true.
But I still think I would rather use Spurrier. Or you could even see the NFL model. What if they hire the GM first? That would be really interesting, who has ties to the
kind of like a Courtney Morgan type of guy.
Yeah, to try to balance that roster.
Yeah.
Hey, work with Spurrier.
Let's get a break in. Speaking of NIL.
Oh, boy. We haven't had a chance to go to this yet.
Charles Huff with the quote and soundbite of the year in college football. We'll let you hear it coming up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Had a wreck at Madison Boulevard and County Line. Had a tractor trailer involved. That one was a hit and run. They ran it as an injury type, but it looks like they've canceled Himsey on it. Oakwood and Grace was a no injury. 2200 block of Meridian north of Oakwood also reported as a no injury. No hose, no mask. You can ask Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, for the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com. From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopay. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at jetsuperstore.com.
Embark on a flavorful journey at the Brewers Cooperative, located within the vibrant community hub of Stovehouse in Huntsville. Their brewery isn't just about crafting exceptional beers. It's a destination where culinary delights and local brews harmonize. Whether you're seeking a laid-back lunch or a lively dinner with friends, their diverse menu has something to please every palate. And with a commitment to quality and a passion for innovation, they invite you to savor the unique flavor of Huntsville's craft beer scene at the Brewers Cooperative.
What's happening? What's happening?
Oh, what's happening is this. Oh, here we go. So the Marshall Thundering Herd, they are taking on the Ohio State University this weekend.
Yeah,
and it kind of goes to Josh's point that to play anybody. But anyway, Charles Huff,
former running back coach at Alabama,
is now the head coach there at Marshall. And I mean, if you're taking in a little knife to a gunfight, you might as well have some fun with it. And Charles Huff having a little bit of fun previewing the matchup with Ohio State this weekend. Soundbite of the year in college football.
Too. So if they want to transfer on down,
here we go.
I'd love to have some of those guys from Ohio State too. So if they want to transfer on down, we've got a Tudor's Biscuit NIL, all you can eat. So if any of those guys that run really, really fast at Ohio State like Tudor's Biscuits, I promise you, all you can eat all day if you transfer here. So, but yeah.
All day.
Did you already look up Tudor's Biscuits?
I have the menu right in front of me.
Here we go. I knew it.
Drew, they have got biscuits like you would not believe.
Manhole covers, huh?
They have got they've got the Thundering Herd.
The Thundering Herd. What's that?
Which is sausage, potato, egg, and cheese. It looks like sausage, a hash brown potato with egg and cheese on it.
Yeah.
You can get the Golden Eagle, which is Canadian bacon, potato, egg, and cheese. You can get the Rocket, which is steak, egg, cheese, and potato. You can get the shaved ham melt. You can get the Tootie, which is country ham, egg, and cheese. The Mountaineer, which is country ham, potato, egg, and cheese. They have got so many biscuits.
You're going to make Jeremy run off the road, man.
They have the Politician, which is bologna, egg, and cheese.
Hey, bologna. Can't have egg, yeah. Give me some potatoes.
Man, they have got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. They have 19 different biscuits that you can get there.
Gravy?
That's this is just the biscuit sandwiches.
Okay.
Then for breakfast, if you wanted to, yes, you can get. Oh my gosh, they got the big tater, diced
tater.
Diced potatoes, smothered scrambled eggs, bacon, your choice of melted cheese, sausage gravy, toast, and buttermilk biscuits. Oh, my goodness.
You know Brandon's recording all this so he can write it down later.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, let me have that NIL. Brandon is with us on the phone lines. Good morning, Brandon.
What's up?
Man, speaking of food, I was in Kroger yesterday, and James Wells is one of the guys that puts out a lot of stock for McKee Foods. And he just walks up to the buggy, and my daughter's looking at him, and he says, hey, he said, just so you know, he's like, Christmas tree cakes in 45 days.
Oh, man. Just like I had some pumpkin McGriddles this week while Scott's away. Here we go with the Christmas tree cake.
Already 45. That's not even. I mean, guys, come on.
I mean, I almost put a crick in my neck yesterday in my old neighborhood. There's somebody already got their Halloween stuff on the friggin' porch.
I guess 45 days would put it in November. That would have to put it in November, but still. It's not.
You can't get them. You can't get them in December because now they put them out in November and they're gone.
Yeah, that's true.
See, that's dumb.
The way it is, though.
You go to Sam's in December to get Christmas stuff. Well, they sold it all in November.
People. Let me get through Halloween first, and let me get through Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I take holidays 30 days at a time, except for college football season, which I'm ready for it after Memorial Day. That's the only thing, kickoff weekend, that you can kind of talk about all the way up to that point, at least with me anyway. That's the only thing I look forward to for that amount of time. June, July, and August, I'm looking forward to Labor Day weekend. And I'm planning for it, and I'm talking about it, and I'm booking hotel rooms, and I'm thinking up a menu for food for every weekend and what we're going to do, because that's just what you do when you look forward to something like that. But no, he told me that. He said, yep. And he's like, all that stuff will be here in 45 days. And I just shook my head. I was like, we got to go. My daughter was like, she was screaming Christmas tree cakes in the buggy. And people were looking around. They're looking for them. They're like, really, where? So, but you guys were talking to Pate, and I text Drew this, Scott, while he was talking to him. I said, when Pate goes to Tuscaloosa for Alabama, Georgia, I know he's going to come down early on Friday.
Right.
He's going to come down early on Friday.
Yeah.
I told Drew, I said, you got to get him in Lawlor's. You got to get the game day man and the scoreboard sponsorship and get him in there and get him one of those potatoes. It's got to happen. He's got to drive right by Huntsville on the way.
Well, I will say this, because Scott talked about earlier on the show. I happened to be out around there, and it was Tuesday, and hellfire. They were all the way wrapped around out in the road. There was almost an accident.
Yeah, well, there's that Lawlor's in Athens. There's the one right off of 65, right there in Athens he could use. But yeah, what is Tuesday? It's like 2 for $12.
Yeah, 2 for 16 or something.
2 for 16. Yeah, 2 potatoes for like $16. And in the one on Whitesburg Airport, if you drive past there around 5 o'clock, they have a traffic problem because they put the dumb thing in a gas station, and the parking lot's is about as big as 2 feet. And there's not enough room for the car, so it spills out onto Whitesburg. Well, they don't want it spilling out into airport. They don't want the traffic spilling out into airport because it slows airport down, ties it up. And the gas station doesn't want it blocking the pumps. So there's really nowhere for it to go. So it's a convoluted mess.
You better be careful.
Yes, just be careful.
Well, the one that's not far from y'all's station, it's in the gas station.
That's the one we're talking about.
Yes, that's the one we're talking about,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I ended up going down there. I don't know if that's the Publix or what that is behind it, but I ended up way down there in that shopping center parking lot.
Dollar Tree and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, well, I'm getting Lawlor's one way or another. I don't care if we got to walk, if we've got to.
So the best thing to do is, in that situation, is you just park and go inside.
Yeah.
Just park and go inside and get it, and you'll get it a whole up. Yeah.
And enjoy the heck out of that. But the biscuit place you were talking about, what was the name
Tudor's.
of the place?
Tudor's Biscuits in Marshall in Huntington, West Virginia.
Yep.
I don't know if we'll ever make a trip to Huntington, West Virginia, but I will make a note of that one in the phone.
There it is. I told you. He's just going to start making plans.
I have no idea why I would be going through there, but man,
you never
if
know,
I do,
Central Arkansas may play there, and you may do the broadcast, Scott.
Maybe.
John Shulman.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to find a reason to get there, but man, the biscuits look fantastic.
Well, I'll just tell you, if you pull up in my closing statement, if you pull up to get biscuits and you hear banjos, keep driving. Roll Tide.
Well, in West Virginia, we might hear a lot of banjos, regardless where we're at.
Yeah.
All right, let's get a break in because Oklahoma entertaining Tennessee this weekend. What do the Sooners have in store? We'll make the phone call to Norman, and we'll bring in Brandon Drum next from Norman, Oklahoma, as we get a preview of Tennessee, Oklahoma coming up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly to partly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 80s. Slight increase in the amount of cloud cover across the Tennessee Valley. Maybe an isolated shower across far northeast Alabama, but the overall chance is incredibly small. Temperatures drop into the mid and upper 60s as we head into the overnight early Thursday morning. Much the same Thursday afternoon. A mostly to partly sunny sky. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 80s with a rogue shower certainly possible across northeast Alabama. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got a couple of wrecks still working. Just got 153 and Martin Luther King, maybe south of the intersection, coming in as a no injury. And we had Madison Boulevard and County Line. They reported it with injuries. There was a tractor trailer involved, hit and run, but they canceled Himsey on it from the looks of things. Watch for work indicator on Gort Drive near 6th Avenue. They've got about a mile of Gordon that's going to be closed. From routine care to heart failure, Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist on Bob Wallace have the expertise to take care of all matters of the heart. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
You don't have to go somewhere else just so you can go somewhere new. Plan your next vacation with Huntsville International Airport and Breeze Airways. Enjoy friendly, convenient, nonstop travel to some of the most exciting destinations in the U.S., including the home of iconic casinos, world-class shows, dining and entertainment. Las Vegas, with flights starting as low as just $79. Breeze has got you covered with easy, breezy, nonstop flights to Las Vegas. Book nonstop to Las Vegas now at flybreeze.com.
Welcome back. 8:34 on a Wednesday morning. Coming up on Saturday, the Tennessee Vols will make their way to Norman, Oklahoma, SEC opener for both programs. It also, Drew, marks the return of one Josh Heupel to Norman, Oklahoma. The history there, winning the national championship as a player, the Heisman, all that fun stuff that surrounds Josh Heupel being the offensive coordinator, helping them win a national championship. I mean, he has a lot of history there in Norman. And I believe the last time we talked to Brandon, we talked about his return visit there and what it will be like on Saturday.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And we hope to have Brandon Drum join us shortly. He does a great job for Rivals.com as part of the OU Insider. And he did. He provided us a lot of, background with that because he knows Josh Heupel's family. He's covered OU for a long time.
Yeah.
Everybody knows the story. I mean, the last national championship team for Oklahoma, of course, we all know it was quarterbacked by Josh Heupel, and he did an outstanding job. He was a Heisman Trophy candidate there in the year 2000, and he came over from junior college and kind of just was the missing piece for Bob Stoops as Bob Stoops came to OU and changed the culture there from the standpoint of they were known so much for option football and the wishbone. But they started running the Mike Leach fun and gun. He was a part of that coaching staff, and they completely changed the way they played and were able to beat Florida State in the national championship game in 2000 and win it all. I mean, it was really good. And, he had a great run there, was an assistant coach at Oklahoma for a long time before being dismissed from that staff. There's a lot of acrimony there. And then he went to Missouri as OC, and then we know he ended up getting a head coaching opportunity at UCF, and now he's at Tennessee and doing a great job. So hopefully we'll be able to reach Brandon in just a couple of minutes and talk about that and talk about this matchup, which is the SEC opener for both of them, the first SEC game for Oklahoma, and it's a matchup that I think is really the marquee one of the weekend, maybe in college football, but definitely in the Southeastern Conference.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the most intriguing ones. And, I was hoping when we got to this point in the season, because of how they started, that we could be saying that about Vanderbilt and Missouri. Because if Vanderbilt had gone to Georgia State, had won that game against Georgia State, I'm not saying it would have been the most intriguing matchup. I'm just saying it would have been one of the most curious ones because you would have had a 3-0 Vanderbilt team that were like, man, they're off to a 3-0 start. They're going to Missouri. How can they hang? They lose to Georgia State. So now Missouri is a 20.5-point favorite at home against Vanderbilt. And now you're thinking, if Georgia State can slow Vanderbilt down, is Missouri just going to end this great start, this story that would have been a bigger story for Vanderbilt? I mean, you said on Monday it's the same old Vanderbilt. Are we back to feeling that way?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know. I didn't know how we should feel about this one because I thought it would be bigger than it would be. But I guess because they lose to Georgia State, it kind of takes that lust away.
It does a little bit. I mean, you hate to see it, but but Chris Lee kind of warned us last week. He said it would be typical Vanderbilt to, go to Georgia State and lose all this momentum and not, come away with a win. Now, it looked like they were going to rally and score late with just over a minute to go and have a chance to pull it out 32-29 after they got the 2-point conversion. But again, they allowed Georgia State to go straight down the field and win the game. Certainly Vandy has surprised some people early and beat what may end up being a solid Virginia Tech team, but they just have no margin for error. They've got to pay attention to detail. And, and Georgia State's been, Sean Elliott did a good job there before going back to South Carolina. They've had some good players. They've got Robert Lewis that left to go to Auburn. They lost several guys in the portal, but again, it's just a game you need to win if you're Vandy and gonna try to make a Cinderella run in a bowl game. But I just think they're not going to sneak up on anybody now. Everybody's got that Virginia Tech film, and I think Diego Pavia is an outstanding competitor. But it's just one of those things where Vandy just doesn't have the depth, and they don't have if they make mistakes, if they don't play penalty free, if they don't play turnover free, they're not going to win. And it's going to be a really difficult matchup against a Missouri team that's been good, not great so far. I'm going to be interested to see if they can start getting their offense kind of cranked up, and because there was a lot of expectation going into the season.
All right, 2-5, I guess. So we're waiting for Brandon. Hopefully he'll be able to join us here in just a few minutes as we want to try to preview this Oklahoma-Tennessee game. 256-576-4977. You got about a second or two if you want to give us your real thoughts. Georgia's governor, Brian Kemp, does sign an executive order yesterday, provides in-state programs can temporarily use a compensation protection. So basically the schools in Georgia Tech, Georgia State, all of your schools, they can use money now to directly pay players. Now, it can't come from state funds. They can't use state funds for this, but they can directly pay players now in the state of Georgia and will face no repercussions from conferences or the NCAA.
Yeah, I mean, they're following the state of Missouri and some others, Florida. I mean, this is the same stuff.
Yep.
Juju Lewis has already made a ton of money for Carrollton. He's committed to USC, and so they're just until they.
This is college level now too. So
yeah,
so,
I mean,
yeah.
Until they get together in January, when after the presidential election and they start putting their heads together, trying to get a long-term plan for revenue sharing. This is what you're going to see in each of these individual states. This was not groundbreaking or shocking by any stretch.
All right. Pete Thamel. This was interesting. Pete Thamel yesterday, we talked a lot about Billy Napier. We talked to John Frary about it, and we talked to everything. And Pete Thamel said yesterday, it does feel like Florida's going to move on from Billy Napier, but it might not happen as soon as we all think. He says right now there does not seem to appear to be the same urgency at Florida that there is maybe in the fan base right now to fire Billy Napier. Pete Thamel said on College Football Live yesterday that Napier still has the locker room, and this isn't a completely undisciplined team or a team that is turned on him. And there doesn't seem to be that big urgency right now to fire Billy Napier.
Well, I'm not surprised by that. I mean, in a way, I mean, look, I think it also has to do with what we talked to Josh Pate about, and that's the timelines and the uncertainty of athletic director Scott Strickland. So it doesn't surprise me. I mean, I know some people would say, well, if you dismiss him, you get ahead of everybody else, but the timelines, no matter when you fire a coach now, are going to be very difficult if you're trying to hire a standing head coach that's in the college football playoff. Okay, it's going to make it difficult. You still got the early signing period that you heard Josh talk about, December the 4th. You've still got the transfer portal window. So again, no matter what, it's going to be difficult to hire a coach unless you get somebody that's not coaching right now. Like if you brought Urban Meyer back, which I don't see.
Right.
No way do I see Nick Saban going there. But that's the only way you could hit the ground running completely is if you got a guy that's maybe not in coaching right now, and he would come take over your college program. Other than that, most of the time you're going to be trying to hire standing head coaches, and if it's the elite guys, they're going to be in the college football playoff. And it's going to make it a little hairy from a time standpoint. And by the time you get the head coach, it may be now the first year you might as well just give the coach a mulligan, because your roster is going to be decimated by the transfer portal, and your head coach might not, if he makes a run, he may not be able to get there until mid-December when all these windows are already open, and you might be able to get some scraps and sign some kids in February because they have the second signing date. But again, but I will say too, the only caveat and small caveat you would have is if you hire a head coach from another school, then that school's portal window will open, and you might be able to do what Vanderbilt did and raid New Mexico State and have their team come to yours. But that's about all you could do probably.
All right, 256-576-4977. That's the number you can join the program with. You can join the program. Yesterday, we top of the show.
Yep.
We talked a lot about how the Carolina Panthers and Bryce Young and all that other stuff, being demoted, Andy Dalton taking over at starting quarterback. And that was the beginning of the day. And by the time yesterday ended, every national pundit had their thoughts on Bryce Young, and they had their thoughts on the Carolina Panthers. And Mel Kiper, we want to talk about things that have just been good to mention. Listen to Mel Kiper talking about how the Carolina Panthers let Bryce Young down.
I think it's mishandled is the word, because when you drafted Bryce Young, you knew he was an outlier. Russell Wilson was bigger, right? Taller, but only 5'10" 3/4. That opened it up for the 5'10" quarterback. But Russell Wilson was 205, 208 coming out, not 180. Okay, Kyler Murray, because of Russell Wilson, became the number 1 pick overall. Different body type than Bryce Young. So you knew Bryce Young, not only short, but small, diminutive quarterback, needed help, right? Also continuity. You draft a quarterback. Everybody said he's got this great infrastructure in Carolina around him, right? With the head coach, the coordinator, the quarterback coach, everything's there, the senior assistant, everything's in place. And then you see him beat C.J. Stroud on the field as a rookie, right? You take out the 3 games he threw multiple interceptions, he was 5 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns, 3 picks, okay? Had some decent games last year, okay? But then you go into this year, you change everything because C.J. Stroud's doing so well in Houston. We got to destroy this thing. We got to blow it up and start over because, C.J. Stroud's doing so great in Houston. These coaches aren't getting it done. So we bring in an offensive coach who was with Baker and others, right? Bring in a new pass game coordinator, new quarterback coach for Bryce Young. Then we don't play him in the preseason. We play him 1 series in the final preseason game against the AOGs. None of those guys are playing for Buffalo, by the way. They went 1 series down the field, and they're rah-rah. Great, we got it. We accomplished everything we wanted to. I'll give you a little note. C.J. Stroud played in 2 preseason games this year. Okay, he played 4. Derek Carr played in 2 preseason games. Why? Because Clint Kubiak was coming in with a new offense, and Derek Carr is a veteran, played in 2 preseason games. Bryce Young played 1 series of a final preseason game against the nobodies on defense for the Buffalo Bills. Does that make sense to you? When in 2 games in, we're saying he can't play? Yes, his confidence was shattered, right? Yes, he does need to sit behind Andy Dalton for a little bit. But to blame this on Bryce Young is ridiculous. The blame here goes to the organization, the owner, for mishandling.
There you go.
Completely agree. I've said it. They're the worst organization in sports. The owner is worse than Daniel Snyder. He doesn't have a competent head coach. He doesn't have a competent staff around him. They have a bunch of tomato can, over-the-hill position players. I heard some moron say they had one of the best offensive lines in football. That's garbage. They don't have a great offensive line. They have nobody. No, and if you switch QBs, if you put Stroud in Carolina, he's not going to elevate that team right now. They don't have anything, But they in Houston, they have stable ownership. They hired a real outstanding coach in D'Amico Ryans. They have Bobby Slowick, and they had a plan. They already had Nico Collins in place. They already had some solid guys around him. Plus, they fortified their defense. A quarterback, you can't just wave a magic wand and have him transform everybody. Bryce needed some infrastructure, some things built around him. I mean, 2 years ago, look, we know Tua's having health problems, but 2 years ago they were calling Tua Tagovailoa, a bust. They were saying if he plays poorly, they're going to get rid of him. Diana Rossini, who wouldn't know a football from a basketball, in my opinion, she's over here bloviating, saying, "Oh, if he doesn't play well, they're going to get rid of him after 2 games." But then guess what? They draft Jalen Waddle. They go go get Tyreek Hill in free agency. They fortify the offensive line. And, oh, my God, he led the NFL in passing, and now he's getting a big contract. Yeah, no duh, because he can play if you put players around him. Some of these idiots that report on football for ESPN are buffoons. Yes, I said it. They are buffoons. They do not know the game. This is not the Tom Jacksons. This is not the Chris Bermans. This is not the Chris Mortensons. It's the CBD crew, F, that doesn't know any damn thing.
All right, let's get
Mel Kiper's still there. Thank the Lord. They better thank Jesus that Mel Kiper stayed there for 40 years, because right now it's toilet.
I won't play what Stephen A. Smith had to say then, because it's the complete opposite. He went the complete opposite.
I don't care.
Let's get our final break in. Your tomorrow's headlines are coming up next, and I have a deal for you. If you want free food at an NFL football game, I will tell you where you can go. Somebody's giving away free food Sunday. I'll let you know where.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Haven't picked up anything new accident-wise. We still had that one at Martin Luther King in 53 south of the intersection. We had Madison Boulevard and County Line originally reported as an injury type, but it looks like they canceled Himsey on that one. Watch out for tree trimming work on Gordon Drive. They got about a mile of Gordon closed west of 6th Avenue. That'll be the situation in Decatur through most of the day. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. You can make it safer for them. Slow down or move over. It's the law. Captain Eck in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Already about to hit the halfway point. This is our high school streaming network. This week, week 4 features Buckhorn at Lee. Zone 2 features Madison Academy at Madison County. Zone 3 has the Randolph Raiders at Pope St. John Paul II. The Sparkman Senators will be on Zone 4. Plus, you can also hear it on Talk Radio 2 as well as on Talk Radio, with Huntsville taking on Sparkman. And Zone 5 features the Westminster Christian Academy Wildcats at DAR.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888. Sparky.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
You need a lawyer and pick up the phone. I'm attorney Gary Lackey. When you call for a lawyer, where does that phone ring? My phone rings in my office.
I'm attorney Justin Lackey. My phone rings in my office too.
So does mine. I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. And when you've been hurt and need help, we're the ones who take your call.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
I told you I'll let you know where you can go, Drew, and watch football on Saturday.
Yep.
And get free food.
I thought you said Sunday. Is it Saturday or
Sunday? It's Sunday. It's Sunday. My bad. Arthur Blank is going in to the Ring of Honor.
Oh, nice.
Okay. It's maintained by the franchise he owns, by the way, though.
I was going to say it's the team he owns, so he's putting himself in there.
Right. But anybody, every fan that attends Sunday night's game, Chiefs versus Falcons in Atlanta, will receive free hot dogs, free bags of chips, and a free soda in a souvenir cup.
Well, I mean, we've had their food. It is pretty good, Scott. You tried at least half the menu.
So do you want to take a guess on how many hot dogs have been ordered for Sunday's game in Atlanta?
5,000.
No. You ready for this?
Okay.
100,000 hot dogs have been ordered.
So I did 5 times too many. I overshot it big time. 100,000.
So for all of 2023, the Atlanta Falcons sold 82,000 hot dogs.
Okay.
For their home games. For the entire 2023 season.
Wow.
They sold 82,000 hot dogs. They have ordered 100,000 hot dogs for Sunday's game.
Crazy, man.
There's a 2 hot dog per person limit.
Well, there's got to be. If they, you said 100,000, and how many probably holds what, 60 something or something?
I don't know. Yeah,
I'm
probably.
thinking, okay, well then that's got to be about 2 per person. Hellfire at Alabama, they'll let you have 1 now. 1.
You only get 1 hot dog
in the press box. 1.
Do they keep? How do they keep track?
They have a hot dog Nazi.
I don't think we can say that.
Well, I just did.
By the way, somebody commented on Twitter saying we lost our food card.
I know, Chris did.
Because they said if you can't smell the pit, it's not real barbecue.
Look,
I guess that's into reference of Lawler's not being able to smell the pit.
Come on, you can smell barbecue. I mean, it's great stuff. Why would you line up out in the road if it wasn't good barbecue? Good Lord.
Anyway, it's unlimited refills on your drinks Sunday. So
that's cool.
I know we carry the Atlanta Falcons, and I know we've got Falcons fans that'll make that drive to Atlanta on Sunday. So if you're going, you can get 2 free hot dogs, 2 free bags of chips, and unlimited soda because Arthur Blank is going into the Ring of Honor.
Good for Arthur. He is a very friendly owner. I'll give him credit for that. I mean, he has affordable concessions, and he tries to take care of the fans. There's no question about it. He certainly doesn't own the Carolina friggin' Panthers. Why couldn't the Falcons have drafted Bryce Young? Then I wouldn't have had to get rid of all the stuff on my car.
you don't have a car with it on right now.
I know, but hell, I didn't even. I just left it on the old car. Trade him to Atlanta. Well, they can't do that anyway. They've already drafted Penix.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, that's going to do it. Hey, I will be back in studio tomorrow. I will take off later this afternoon, and I will be back in studio with you tomorrow. It's been a fantastic 3 days.
I've heard all the clanging and banging. You didn't even talk about what you're eating this morning.
Oh, today was Continental Breakfast Day.
Ah, okay. Gotcha.
So I had a yogurt, locally sourced chocolate milk, and a banana and some toast with homemade grape jelly.
There you go.
Situated downtown on Clinton Avenue, you'll find the Church Street family's take on delicious seafood and more. Sea Salt. At Sea Salt, the food speaks for itself. Fresh oysters, shrimp and lobster, and non-seafood fare. Plus a large selection of wines, regional and local beers on tap, and a full bar. Catch the downtown vibe with Sea Salt's unique outdoor city street and patio seating with a view of Jesse Andrews' mural, bringing an